Hey everyone, got a really interesting intersection of copyright and online creators again this video. Amanda Winter on Twitter pinged me and said, "This feels like it might be in your wheelhouse. Two prominent toy reviewers who report on the Jurassic World franchise have been struck by Mattel, claiming recent reviews of figures from the upcoming Jurassic World Dominion film breach their intellectual property. Perhaps it's embargoed. The review products were purchased legally at retail and are still available for sale, but Mattel seems to have mainly or only come down on the reviewers. Does Mattel actually have ground to stand on, or is this an abuse of copyright law?" And I was interested immediately. I looked into the situation a little bit, and it appears from the various social media posts that these creators obtained these toys before the review embargo was up, before they were authorized by Mattel to create a review, but they obtained them by buying them at retail. I think Andy bought his from toywiz.com. I don't know where Tim got his, but the internet quickly blew up with this. 60 said, "Stunningly bad precedents set here, Instagram and YouTube accounts being taken down over Mattel toys being bought legitimately at retail. Solidarity to all the reviewers out there." Paleo Collector said, "All right, Mattel, what the hell is going on? Now you've caused Andy's dinosaur reviews to get shut down too. Do you really want a boycott on your hands, etc." Tim from Collect Jurassic said, "Another prominent collecting community member is now having their channel shut down. 3 copyright strikes submitted by Mattel over the weekend, and that's for Andy's dinosaur reviews." Tim's Instagram account was disabled due to a takedown. They provided him absolutely no information whatsoever, but the YouTube takedowns did show that the takedown was issued by Mattel on a video called Jurassic World Dominion New Toy Unboxing, Pyroraptor and Atrociraptor in 4K. Tim says, "To give a little background, the toys were purchased from toywiz.com, who shipped them early this month. I unboxed and reviewed them, shared content on Instagram and YouTube. 2 to 3 days later, both content pieces were removed." Tim says, "All this to say, if they'd asked me to remove sensitive content as they've done in the past, I would have obliged immediately." Which, that's the first problem, is that Mattel didn't reach out to these creators before sending DMCA takedowns. I'm sure on some level that Mattel knew what the consequences of sending DMCA takedowns are. Your channel can get demonetized, your entire channel can get deleted, your Instagram account can be entirely disabled. So because the DMCA was used here, I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about what I think is really going on here and what I think the legal consequences are of Mattel's DMCA takedowns for these reviewers' reviews. So I'm making some assumptions. I'm only able to go off of what I see posted on the internet, and I don't have a response from Mattel or anything to go over. But from the legal perspective, my initial thoughts were that, well, Mattel doesn't really have a leg to stand on, that DMCA takedowns really shouldn't be able to be used for unboxing videos or news reporting on new items that are available, especially new items that have been released for sale and obtained legally. It's not like this is an unpublished movie or work of art or something like that, and these creators somehow obtained a copy and are now trying to reveal the contents and the plot and maybe even publish the movie or story online or something. These are children's toys or collector's items that are then being unboxed, and to me this clearly falls under fair use. Which to me clearly falls under fair use. Fair use is for news reporting, criticism, and commentary, among other things. So reporting on the existence of the item, showing the item and commenting on it, reporting about its features and quality and everything, and criticizing it if there's anything to be criticized. These are all quintessential fair uses, and unboxing videos really shouldn't be able to be taken down under copyright for any reason. If we think about the rest of the fair use analysis, let's jump to factor 4, which is the market for the copyrighted work. By creating a review or showing that a product is available through a YouTube video or an Instagram post, are you stepping on the market for that work? Are people going to be able to obtain the value of the work through your Instagram post or your video and not have to go buy the toy if they're in the market for the toy or collectible? No, there's no usurping the market for the work by showing it. You're allowed to influence the market for the work by your criticism or commentary. If I'm in the market for a collectible or a toy, and through your review, I decide that I do or don't want the item, yeah, the market value goes up or down based on how many people buy the thing and if they don't buy it. But that's allowed through your criticism and commentary. What you're not allowed to do is act as a substitute for it. Selling a bootlegged DVD is the best example. If I don't have to buy an authorized copy because I bought an unauthorized copy, that's a perfect market substitute. So review videos don't act as perfect market substitutes. And then, did you use the whole copyrighted work? It's not quite the same thing. You're not even in the same medium. You're not making a 3D printed plastic figurine and then selling it to people so that Mattel loses a copy. You're not using the work in that way. Instead, you're showing a two-dimensional video or Instagram post or picture of a toy that's available. The value or the purpose is the toy or collectible, not showing a video about it. So I really don't see how, in the copyright instance, that Mattel has a leg to stand on. I don't think that there's any claim whatsoever. So I think, just in my non-legal advice, hypothetical situation opinion, I don't think that Mattel properly used the DMCA to take down actually infringing content. And instead, it seems like they were trying to silence reviewers. And that's because I think there was still a review embargo in place. From these various posts, it seems like the toy had been released or the collectibles had been released in China, and they weren't supposed to be released in the US yet. Because these creators got a hold of them early, they were able to make reviews before the embargo was up. So I think what was happening was that Mattel was using the DMCA and copyright law to effect a takedown because of the embargo violation. But there is no DMCA takedown for embargo violations. If you violate a review embargo, forgetting for the moment that these channels and these creators were not parties to the review embargo, if you use copyright to take down reviews that are outside of an embargo, that's not copyright. Embargoes would be an agreement. We're going to send you this toy. You're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to review it. You're not allowed to post anything until this particular day. You're only able to make the review because you got the toy early or the collectible early. The embargo then is Mattel sending it to you early and you agreeing not to release it yet. But somehow, I think maybe Toy Wiz or one of the other retailers who did have the toy ready for distribution sold it early, and because of that, these creators were able to get the items early. So if that's all true, it is a huge violation, in my opinion, for Mattel to use copyright when the potential contract violation was really the cause of the dispute. Now, moving to the elephant in the room, Collect Jurassic and Andy's Dinosaur reviews were not parties to the embargo. The contract, that is, the embargo, did not bind these two creators. So how in the world could Mattel claim anything against them? if there was a claim, it was against the retailer who agreed to the embargo, who sold the toy early, which might have just been a mistake. It happens. If that's the case, there's really nothing for Mattel to do against the reviewers who already got the product. They aren't parties to the embargo, so there's no contract violation. The reviews are fair use, so there's no copyright violation. So this just seems like a misuse of copyright. And maybe it even rises to the level of interference with economic relations. There are various business competition laws in various states. We've already reviewed some of California's in the H3H3 case, for example. And there is something called interference with a contract or interference with economic relations. So using copyright to take down the review videos and possibly even these creators' channels and accounts, that seems to me like it's economic interference of the illegal kind. And if these channels were damaged, and if they wanted to pursue a claim, I think they have a claim under California state law because that's where YouTube is located, or maybe where they're located. They should talk to their attorneys about that. Although I understand that they might not want to pursue a case against Mattel. But I think this is pretty egregious and pretty clear, in my opinion, that Mattel should not be using copyright to take down reviews that were outside of the embargo and the reviewers weren't even a party to the embargo. If there was a review embargo in place and it did bind these reviewers somehow, that's still not a copyright issue. That's still not a DMCA takedown issue. And if we had a perfect world where you could challenge these things in all cases and resources weren't a problem and access to justice wasn't a problem, you would make a claim. You would make a claim in a federal copyright lawsuit for a declaratory judgment of non-infringement, and you would claim that this was a misuse of copyright, and you would ask for your damages and attorney's fees to be paid by Mattel, and they would probably have to pay them. So Mattel is, over the line here, I think, unless I hear more information. The good news is that I think the parties were able to work it out. Collect Jurassic says, Mr. Hammond, I think we're back in business. We were recently deactivated due to reported intellectual property violation several days ago. We've been fighting tooth and nail ever since to get it reversed. Without getting into the nitty-gritty details, a mistake was corrected and Collect Jurassic is back online. Andy's Dinosaur Reviews YouTube channel is still in danger, but let's stay optimistic that this will soon be resolved. Ready to put this in our Jeep's rearview mirror and focus on what this is really about, geeking out over Jurassic toys and collectibles with all you fine folks. Tim asks for everyone to stay vigilant because Andy's Dinosaur Reviews account is still not safe, but he's hopeful that Universal Pictures and Mattel will work with YouTube to release the false claims. So once again, we have this terrible situation where the DMCA was potentially used falsely to take down reviews that weren't copyright infringement and probably weren't contract violations on the reviewer's part either. And the only reason that it was resolved was because of public outcry on social media, when these things shouldn't happen in the first place. Companies shouldn't be able to use the DMCA to take down videos that are fair use for contract violations that didn't happen. And this is a huge access to justice problem. Tim and Andy shouldn't have to have their entire lives upturned for a week or more because Mattel didn't want to do its homework. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm going to tag Mattel in this, and you guys feel free to let me know what you think of their behavior in the comments. If there's more information, let me know, and I'll make a follow-up video or correct the record. If somehow Mattel comes forward and says that they had a legitimate reason for these takedowns, but so far I don't see it. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my top supporters in February: John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Eevi, Spirit Bear, Benjamin Hitov, Ugly Grill, Gutbrodj, Torpedan, ShadowTycho, Earthbound Star, PureMagma, TechTechPotato, Eric Tams, and the Blood-Soaked Survivors. You can support Lawful Masses on patreon.com/ljfrench, sponsors.com/law, through YouTube memberships, and through Floatplane subscriptions. Join me for our weekly live production stream on twitch.tv/lawfulmasses on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern US time. I hope everybody has a great week. I love you all. Bye.